Essentially, these are photographs of Kristen presenting at the Council of Graduate Schools 63rd annual meeting on innovative models for funding master's programs. This was similar to the talk that she gave at the conference, but really incredible and made NPSMA look really great. And I was so proud to be there supporting her this past Friday. It was a wonderful experience, especially because in contrast, the other panelist who spoke of one school and one set of experiences or one set of recommendations from the perspective of her school and her state. And Kristen spoke about schools all across the United States and gave multiple examples of innovative funding. And I just thought, well, that, it just showed the unity of this association. I just thought it was very well displayed. And I wanted to show a picture of Kristen in action. So I thought I had sent it to Derek. Kristen has a picture of that, but it was, yeah, I could not have been more proud of our association. So thank you again for joining. It's 4:03. Yes, well done, Kristen.
Thank you, Seema.
And I think we have quorum. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we have enough to start our board meeting. And so thank you, Derek, for confirming. I just want to start by saying it's been a real honor to serve on this board as the president. It has been a year that has challenged me in my thinking and impressed me by the breadth of your experiences and the things that you put before the association for us to pursue. And you're an incredible group of people, and I'm so glad to be part of you. And I'll be even more glad next year where I can just be part of the group and not have to run the meeting. Kristen had promised me it was no big deal. It's really easy. Just and she just sold me a load of goods, which was not true. So I know what I'm handing over to Tim, and it's going to a person who knows what the responsibilities are, and he will do an excellent job. And we're really excited, looking forward to next year. So let's just get started. We'll start with the roll call, which will be led by our convener, Tate. You're muted.
Sorry. Thanks, Seema. I'll call Dagmar.
Yes, here.
Marcel.
Here.
Tim.
Here.
Megan D.
Present.
Seema.
Here.
Jerry. Suzanne.
Suzanne's asked to be excused.
So Jerry.
Oh, here.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm in a different screen, so I don't see any. Max. Kristen.
Here.
Megan N. Deborah. Victor.
Here.
Jenny. And Brian.
Thank you, Tate. And I think maybe a couple may join late. So if you could just keep an eye on those who join from our board, so you could just adjust the roll call. Next, we would need, sorry, go.
So the new members will be added effective the January meeting, right?
I believe so. Isn't that right, Tim, Jerry, Derek?
Yeah, they're not official, but I am just making a note of new board members that are here as well, just for our records. But it's not technically required attendance. But Beth and Star, we're happy you're here.
Yes, thank you both very much. And we're also very happy for those who are attending this open board meeting, just as observers and people who will participate in the conversation at the second part of this hour, which will be the Ask NPSMA led by Marcel. Continuing with the agenda, the next thing we have on our agenda is approval of the minutes from November 20th. I believe all of this was shared with you on Friday by Derek. I'm assuming if everyone has read it, so I need a motion to approve the minutes.
So move.
Thank you, Jerry. A second.
Second.
Thank you, Megan. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions from the board?
I think this was the one I missed, so I have to abstain.
Okay, and Tim as well.
Yeah, I haven't read the minutes, so I have to abstain. I couldn't find them.
I was
Oh,
the one.
sorry. We'll resend it. Thank you. All right. Well, the minutes have passed. And this next part, we would like to nominate. So we've been in consultation with Tim, who is our new president, and he has created a slate of our new officers for next year and the various vice presidents. On his recommendation, we're just going to vote in the officers for next year because he's still waiting to hear back from one person. Everyone else, whom he shared with you, I believe he shared this extensively with. Have you shared this with the board or just with the officers, Tim?
Just with the officers, not with everybody on the board yet.
I see. So Tim has reached out to various members on the board for to confirm that they will continue in the positions that they're currently serving in, or if they will consider serving in a position that they have not served in the past. We're waiting to hear from one other person. So we will vote in those officers at the next meeting with Tim leading. For this meeting, we do need to vote in the president-elect, the next president, and Tate as the convener, and the past president. I'll serve as one of the officers of the board. So that is the current slate. I believe all of you are aware of this because we discussed this at the last meeting. So I'll repeat again. The four officers are the president, which will be Tim Bourne, president-elect, which is Megan Dovick, Tate Chiranjay as our convener, and myself as the past president. I'm requesting you as a board to accept this nomination and vote these names and people as officers of the board. So I guess I need a motion to nominate.
I'm gonna move to nominate those people for those roles.
Thank you, Tim. I need a second. Dagmar. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? No. All right. So let it be noted that we have now voted in the president-elect. Congratulations, Megan. Congratulations, Tim and Tate as well. For the calendar year 2024. All right, one last thing I want to say before we hand it over to the Ask NPSMA, which is essentially handing it over to you, all of you attendees, to bring up any points of discussion, ask any questions from the board, make any inquiries, whatever. This is an open discussion, and even ask us questions about things that we may have just mentioned. We'll be happy to talk about it. But one last thing I want to bring to your attention, the financials were shared with the board as they are before every meeting, the Friday before the meeting. So you should have received, the board members should have received it. But for those who are not on the board, I just want to give you an overview of our financials because this is something we normally do at the conference. We didn't talk much about the finances at all, actually, at the conference. So at the end of business, December 31st, 2022, we had $91,671 and 31 cents in our account. The highest balance we had this year was July 3rd, which coincides with the time when we asked people to send their membership dues. And at that point, the highest end of day balance was 136,198 with 84 cents. Our current balance is $95,353 and 14 cents. And based on the budget, we anticipate continuing using some of this funds for January through June before we start getting our membership dues again. So the budget will be presented by the president next month. And I don't know if you'll have it ready by next month. I assume you will, Tim. And that's pretty much a summary of our finances. Just so that you know, Derek essentially manages our books and keeps the board informed on how the expenses are, what expenses have been made. Our treasurer is Bryant Weber, who isn't here in this meeting. And then we have various people auditing, and Derek is reports to them and copies the president and I believe the president-elect. I don't know, Tim, were you copied on those meetings or is it the past president? I guess the president and the past president are informed. Derek, is that right? Are those the people you keep informed about the monthly financials?
So I've just been sending it to you, the full statements, but I do send
Okay.
Tim and Kristen the weekly balance updates
Right.
as well.
Gotcha. All right.
I'm happy to switch it up or whatever, but just
No, I was just saying the wrong thing, but
no, you're all right.
well, that's all I had for all of you. That essentially concludes the abridged board meeting. There were a couple things that we tabled in November that we will continue discussing in January. But being the open board, we wanted to give an option at this point to members of our association to ask any questions. And we thought that the best format for that would be in the context of an Ask NPSMA. This is a meeting that we have once a month. It's usually the fourth Monday of the month. That's what it's been this past year. It may change next year. And we'll keep the membership informed about it. So at this point, I'd like to conclude this meeting, and I would like to have a motion to adjourn the board meeting so we can start the Ask NPSMA. So I need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Thank you, Jerry. Second. Thanks, Victor, Tim. All in favor? Thank you. I believe that was everyone. I can't see Tate, but I'm assuming he's in favor. Thank you. And at this point, I want to hand this over to Marcel, who's our Vice President for Member Benefits and also leads our Ask NPSMA, which is a monthly, almost monthly event that we host for the association. Marcel.
Thank you, Seema. I just set up a slideshow share. Can everyone see it okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you. So this, I have it labeled here as open board meeting. It's probably that / post board meeting discussion. So welcome to our last episode for 2023 of Ask NPSMA. A few announcements. The details are still to be announced, but we will be having our national conference and workshop next year in November. The plan is Philadelphia. Details will be announced. Keep an eye on the website for more. Keep in mind that you can keep current in the PSM world if you subscribe to our email, so our monthly PSM news. And you can also share best practices through the Innovator and feature your PSM alumni and graduates in the Chronicle. And I think, Dagmar, did you want to say something about the Chronicle?
I don't know who's taking over after me. I have collected some articles, but we didn't have enough to produce a full chronicle for this year. So whoever will, take that position, you just need to let me know, and I will send them the articles that I have collected.
Okay. Thank you, Dagmar. And so Dagmar's email is here if you would like to reach out to her about this. If you're interested in volunteering for NPSMA committees, just really ask any board member. We would love to have you involved. And we have additional memberships to being an NPSMA member. So reduced rates to our conference, presentation opportunities for students at the annual conferences, close relationship with the Council of Graduate Schools, which can result in presentation opportunities and NSF grants, and monthly Ask NPSMA webinars, which you're here for one, but keep in mind that we have recordings of the past Ask NPSMA sessions available on our YouTube channel. And we also in the past have organized PSM-focused virtual recruitment fairs. Follow us on social media. So we're on Facebook. I guess I should change that to X, and X, formerly known as Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And that leads us to our open board meeting discussion. And so I think really the idea here is a reflection point for the year. I think we also should acknowledge all the wonderful work, Seema, that you did for us as president of the organization. And we are massively appreciative of everything that you've done for us. But I think we can open this up with just general discussion. I have some talking points that I can use to lead the discussion. But first, is there anything that anyone would like to reflect on or suggest about our trajectory for the future? Or really any points that you would like to make about our organization?
This may sound like a board topic, but really we are making an urgent request for a student worker to replace Salil, who has come from Rice University, who has worked very closely with Stara on developing our website. We need, unless Stara and Megan have found someone, we would love for you to talk to students in your program if there is anyone available who would be willing to work for up to 20 hours a week to help with our website. That is a real need for us right now.
That's good to know. Do we have a write-up of that, or a like a job posting kind of thing that we could share with people who might be interested?
Stara, did you want to comment on that?
That is an excellent point, Marcel. Thank you. Megan and I and Tim discussed the need for that. And I think, Seema, you were part of this conversation. We discussed the need for that over the past month. Per Salil, in our last meeting, he said that it would be great if the student had experience with WordPress, CSS, and PHP. So, Derek, if you have time, maybe we can start an email thread and try to get a job description going, and then consult with Salil. I think he would probably be the best person to approve or make any changes to what that description would be like. And then we can send it out if that's okay.
If the student is an international student, which Salil was, the way we can work it out is the way Dagmar set it up for us, where Dagmar invoiced NPSMA. NPSMA sent the check to Rice University, and then Rice was able to pay the student directly. So we weren't like external employers. This was all done through the association and through our board member, Dagmar. So we didn't really need to create a job description or a curricular practical training, etc.
Okay, that sounds great. Hopefully we can find someone, I would imagine, with all of our networks, given that it would be a remote position, that's something that we should be able to fill. Okay, keeping the floor open, did anyone have any other topics, really anything at all that you would like to discuss? So, oh, sorry, go ahead. Was that Tate?
Yeah, I just wanted to know if we've given any more thought to opening up student competitions for NPSMA meetings.
Sorry, Tate, that wasn't clear. I couldn't hear you because you cut off part of the way. If there was any
He was
thought
asking
to,
about
no?
the student presentations at the conference that we've done in the past, and if we're,
Got
was
it.
that right, Tate?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So what I can tell you, Tate, is I heard from many people that they would like the student presentations to come back. So that is my intention. I will work with Seema and Jerry, who are going to co-lead the conference in Philly, and we're going to see what we can do to get those students back in again.
Awesome. Thanks. I can promise you that since we are only 40 minutes from Philly, we will have students presenting if we bring them back.
Say between Temple and Thomas Jefferson and Stockton and a few others, Rutgers is not too far away. We should be able to draw in a decent number.
Yeah, I was just thinking that it's a really good location for a lot of people.
True.
Yeah, we just have to decide what kind of format we want it in. Do we want posters? Do we want speed talks? Like, and then also, do you want to supplement that with some kind of student networking or like speed networking or something like that? I mean, I don't know. If you do, we could prep the students ahead of time with you know, networking skills, practice beforehand, so they get as much as they can out of it. I don't know.
Sounds like a good role for a new board member to
No, no.
to lead.
Oh, I should not have opened my mouth. What's wrong with me?
I'm not officially president yet, but I'm sort of playing that role.
Oh no, good deeds never go unpunished. What can I say?
I don't know. And it sounds like a good recommendation for inviting you to the committee, to the conference planning committee.
I mean, I am close, and I do agree that there are a lot of universities in the area that, I mean, just from those in Philly and those in Jersey, right? I mean, there's enough students that you wouldn't have to worry about the whole traveling thing and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. So I think it's a good idea.
So I was talking to my friends at Troy, and they don't have a PSM, but they are interested in maybe exploring and coming in as visitors. So
Right. Yeah. I know also the Rutgers Camden site is becoming very entrepreneurial. So, I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for Rutgers in general, but I know that it's expanding. So, I don't know.
I have a question. Maybe, first of all, two things. One was when I received an email that there is an NPSMA Zoom, I didn't know that the first 15 or 20 minutes was for board member only. So if you need something that it has to be for the board member, put it in the email, join 15 minutes later. If not, that's fine. Secondly, it would be good if one or two paper, maximum one or two paper from each institution could be submitted that could be peer reviewed. So this way, the faculty or graduate student, when they come in, they will say, I presented a peer reviewed research or paper or service or whatever it is. That would be good one too, in case. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Said. Oh, Tolesa, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. I just want to say I'm really pleased with the last annual conference we had in Florida, and thank you, Seema, for swift action of taking a picture and posting in the LinkedIn. We got a lot of reaction. That is the best way of marketing and the branding, and thank you all for, and the plus mentioning everybody's name, that actually added the reaction, number of reaction to that post. Like, I don't know if you guys are watching that. LinkedIn is now becoming the very powerful tool in marketing. Everybody's just posting like wherever they attend the workshop. So I think my question after that is, how do we keep this branding and marketing PSM after this? Really, I feel like there's some disconnect from how we started and then between. Now we have new branding. So how do we keep this momentum so that it's really like it's about like telling, like identity also, like our student, once they are identify themselves to this profession, like they also expect to be, see themselves for the high expectation, which is really the hard skill and soft skill. Is a marketable skill that the PSM is valuing collectively, how we just starting from the logo with some like very, very articulated, to the point, like description of what the PSM from the main website, and then trickle all the way to every institution.
So I can jump in on that too. I see Megan has unmuted herself, but Megan and Stara in particular have thought long and hard about this. And so they have actually put together a list of things that they want to do in the next year that's towards the marketing and the membership and the community building and all that sort of stuff, which I have talked with them about. So we have plans. We have ambitious plans, although Megan and Stara say that it's not nearly as ambitious as I think it is, that it'll all get done. So we will start to roll things out starting probably in February and March. So January will be more sort of getting people together and starting to work on it. But you're right. We had a wonderful conference. It's something to build off of with the people who attended, and then build out to those who have attended in the past and are familiar with us, and then to build out even farther to those who are part of NPSMA but haven't really participated yet, as well as beyond those to people who are not part of NPSMA. Megan, do you have anything you want to say in addition?
That really kind of encapsulates our big, broad vision. But definitely, how do we kind of keep going with this momentum that we have been working on this entire year? So one of the things that we are doing is we're finalizing our branding kit with Elliott Hammer that will have not only the unified slogans and logos and different ways and different files of logos, so you can implement, so you can put it onto websites, mobile, social media, but we also will have in there a program suggestion guide. So it's like, how do programs utilize or use marketing and branding within their own personal programs? So we're going to give you kind of a toolkit, and we're going to share that out with our community. And then that's kind of the forward-facing member send out. And then kind of on the backside, and we got a lot of really great responses of those who wanted to work on the marketing committee or learn more about it. So Star and I are going to reach out to you. We've been kind of dragging a little bit on that because we're waiting for this to kind of finish our project with our marketing consultant. But sneak peek, stay tuned. We are going to be reaching out. And I believe you are on that list of interested people. So we will be reaching out to you as well. And yeah, we have like I said, we took all of the ideas of the marketing that we learned and lessons learned from this year, and we tried to break them out so that we can have actionable tasks in this upcoming year with input from all those who also share kind of the same marketing challenges and experiences that you were addressing head on. Like, how do we do this? How do we create value with their students? How do they create a sense of identity with PSMs? So those are some of the ideas that we want to incorporate into our actions this year. Stara, anything else?
Well, thanks so much for your question, Teresa. Yes, I think we felt that same excitement and energy. And I said to Tim and Megan, and Seema, how do we keep the ball rolling? So Megan and I, in consultation with Tim, have put together a fairly comprehensive and strategic plan moving forward, because we learned this past year that marketing and outreach is a very, very large discipline, large area. So we've broken that down into, what would you say, Megan, five different subcategories, subgroups, or subcommittees. And each committee will have a clear action plan. We're putting together a calendar. Of course, these are not prescriptive. We understand that people have full-time positions and they're busy and have lives and whatnot. So these are more just suggestions, guidance, so that people have a clear understanding of what they need to accomplish. So we're really excited about that. To add to that, our passion project for Megan and myself this year is to build out the Canvas portion on the professionalsciencemasters.org website. So we want to be able to add, in addition to being part of a fabulous community and all the other benefits of being an affiliated program, our goal in consultation with our community is to create a fairly comprehensive Canvas page with different modules. It will be one-sided. These are not going to be classes where people are engaging with them, but things like your syllabi. How do I market my plan? How do I talk about DEIA in the workforce? So different modules that are thematic in nature, so that when people say, why become affiliated? How are you going to help me get my program off the ground? That we can have very clear things to point to support our argument. So.
I'd like to add one more thing to Lessa. So something that we did early on this year was, that's when we discovered the star power of Stara. She was on the marketing committee, and then she started helping us with the LinkedIn website. And so more than ever, and I believe Stara also renamed it. Is that right? We called it the Professional Science Masters, Science Masters PSM Initiative. And so if there are things that you would like to showcase from your university, if you tag that Professional Science Masters Initiative, we will amplify that message for you. So, the comment you made at the beginning about amplification of the message, you tag us, and then NPSMA will tag you back, and then the rest of us members who are active on LinkedIn will amplify your message, because it serves all our purposes. It's a very selfish endeavor. It doesn't just serve you. It makes the association look good, and then all the members are sending that message indirectly to their own students that, we appreciate what University of Illinois is doing, or what Washington, D.C. is doing, or, whichever location your PSM program is in. That's something that benefits all of us. So I also want to respond to Dr. Faroudistan's comments. So we did send out a Zoom link, you're right, and we called it an open board meeting. So there are about 6 people on this call who are not on the board. And we are very grateful that you're here because we wanted you to get to see the board and who are on the board. So in the future, you can bring your, comments and questions directly to them. The other thing is I like your suggestion about having 2 people peer review an article. I'm not sure if the content of that article is scientific, but it's almost sounding like you are suggesting we create an NPSMA journal, which associations are known to have. This seems like a down the road project where associations will, AACR has its own journal. Now they have 10 journals. That's how they started out, was with peer reviewing each other's, and that's how societies build out. We are still in a very nascent stage. We're not there yet, but I believe we have some excellent work being done by our students that could stand to be peer reviewed by a whole publication side of NPSMA, again, down the road. But it's a great idea, and it's something that we should pursue. So please be sure, to follow up on this with next year, so that we can think about how we could tie that into the conference even, and say, here are some papers and here are some publications. In fact, here's a booklet on some recent publications that were reviewed within NPSMA that we can hand out at the conference. So thank you for that great idea.
And I will also add, Talesa, with 5 subcommittees, there's plenty of room for NPSMA members to participate. So you might receive an email from somebody at some point in time saying, would you mind being part of our group?
Yeah, I think like, I appreciate this open board meeting, because if only board is meeting, the others never see each other or hear about it until like annual meeting. I think that is disservicing the, we don't nurture, this community-based, like this continue communication connection if we just wait for annual meeting. So I think somebody did a great job who came up with an idea of open board meeting. This is how we make a connection. Like you get feedback with, I think anyone, like every director, I think I encourage if everyone just pop up and listen, throw some word and keep the board, keep everyone engaged. So we have to feel ownership. If we leave it to somebody else, we don't reach where we want to get. It's just about giving, not really taking. So that's what I'm believing in. So
Talesa, just to that, I want to add. Sorry, were you still talking? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So Talesa, I just want to add. Sorry, my connection is unstable here, so I'm not hearing everything. But once a month, we meet as a community, not as a board, at Ask NPSMA. And, if you could just kind of pencil that in your mind, because at this point, we don't have a calendar invite for you. But that is where most of the board attends Ask NPSMA, and then the community at large is invited. And the conversations are often around a theme, and you can propose that theme. Or, if you join the Ask NPSMA to attend another theme that is not as much of interest to you, you meet the board members there, and you can then suggest, here's what I'd like to talk about at the next meeting. Marcel is the person you want to get in touch with if you already have ideas for next year. But that was the purpose of this, was to, to remind people that Ask NPSMA is that forum that we have for everyone to come in and seed our conversations with new ideas.
And thank you for mentioning that, Seema. That was one thing I wanted to mention to the group. If I just put my email address in the chat, if you have Ask NPSMA ideas, please send them to me. We definitely try to set up themes and topics based on what people in the organization are interested in.
I have a question. Do you know how many university they pay their membership dues and they are member?
Derek, can you answer that?
I don't have the exact number, but it's quite a few. It's probably about
Is it at least
150,
50%?
175 universities
35 out of what? Out of how many?
out of 300, maybe.
Okay.
But
What I wanted to suggest was maybe we could come up with some kind of ideas to increase the membership, paid membership, by saying that if you bring a university in your state or your friend or somebody they can join this, we give you 50% discount for your own next registration, something, whatever, or come to conference for not paying the registration fee. I mean, I'm not talking about myself. In general, get them some kind of incentive that they could bring more member paying dues to NPSMA, so you make it better.
So part of what we want to do, Saeed, is build out membership benefits that make it worth your money.
Yeah,
And
okay.
so that's with the Canvas build out, is to be able to get those membership benefits, at least some of them available on Canvas.
Okay.
And it would be accessible for members, but not for non-members. We would have some things that were accessible to everybody, so you could see who we are and what we do, but then we would have some that would be accessible only to members, and so your membership fees would get you something useful.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, Derek, what about like if the director is really actively engaged in the association? Is there
we are
anyone who's
actively
really
engaged.
who is actively engaged but not a member? Really, we have to identify who is not engaged. If he's not
Most
a
people that are
member,
engaged are already members, if I'm being
yeah,
honest.
exactly. So this will help us like, okay, how do we reach out to others once we get all of us each other? Then I think that way will be very helpful how to expand it than how to engage everyone.
So this is really great. The idea of expansion that Dr. Farudistan, that Talesa you're bringing up, is tied into this last year's work of changing our name from, and I'm going to let Jerry talk to this, but we were the Professional Science Masters Association. Now we're the STEM Masters Association. One of the main reasons we changed that name was to include engineering schools. Certainly, we can consider as a board, various proposals to incentivize STEM Masters Associations from joining. We actually do have 2 levels of membership, one which is slightly cheaper for non-affiliated programs. So it'll be easier for you to recruit them into our folds, but I'm going to let Jerry address some of those details.
Well, thanks, Seema. I think you actually gave a very good summary answer. And I think indeed a broad theme of the last years of work by the full board, by the ad hoc committee, by our engagement with the Council of Graduate Schools has all been geared to expanding membership and being more inclusive, not only of traditional PSM programs, but of master STEM programs in general, which are continually striving to adopt the organizing principles of the original professional science masters movement. So all the ideas expressed this evening are really all contributing in many ways to that effort. And so we look forward, I'm sure, to continued discussion, whether it's the formal changes of the bylaws to accommodate the expansion or the broader engagement through our publications and our annual conference. All of these things are mutually reinforcing, and we look forward to bringing all these great ideas this evening to fruition.
Talesa, are you saying something? You are muted.
Sorry. Yeah, I was muted. So like, did we because I'm thinking about our engineering program, did we change like the requirement for the PSM curriculum? 1/3 of the curriculum must be the professional or science plus courses, or if it is still the same, and then
It's the same for right now.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's
But
where
I'll let Jerry answer this. So if you're saying if there's an engineering program that's not a PSM program, how can they join? Is that the question you're asking?
yes.
Well, again, I don't think these concepts are mutually exclusive. And we've had much discussion over what we mean by a PSM program. Do we mean the narrow definition of a master STEM graduate program that literally confers a PSM degree as opposed to a Master of Science in some other discipline? These are indeed the discussions we've been having for some time. Tulesa, I think you provide perhaps a great example. If you're referencing a master's program in some field of engineering, I would presume, and you would know better than me, of course, but there are some elements of the built into the curriculum or into the co-curriculum that are all geared to professional development of the students beyond the technical knowledge base and bench skills, which is indeed largely what the PSM movement originally was about, training students broadly for the workforce. So I think programs such as yours naturally share many attributes already, and it has not been a concern. In fact, we took a straw poll at the last annual conference and asked of those gathered how many of the programs literally conferred a PSM degree on their students as opposed to a Master of Science in something. And if I recall correctly, most did not confer literally a PSM degree. So I think we're beyond that point, and more broadly opening our doors. The last point, specifically in engineering, part of the comparison and contrast was if you have an engineering program, are you accredited by ABET, perhaps? Right. And so you know again better than me for sure, but ABET began as distinctly an engineering organization, but very explicitly was an accreditation agency. And although we have affiliations through NPSMA, I think we do draw a distinction between the more formal accreditation agencies such as ABET and others regionally and nationally. And so the caution for us was that there is still, as of yet, no very broad-based national organization or international, for that matter, that is explicitly focused on master STEM programs across broad disciplines. And we felt we have an opportunity to move into that space. If you look at ABET as an organization and go to their website, they're still mainly engineering, but you read their mission statement and it seems to be creeping into other fields as well, even natural science, biological sciences. And so I think there's a narrow window for NPSMA to broaden its scope. And it doesn't mean abandoning the founding principles. In fact, it implies that the founding principles have been adapted very broadly by master STEM programs in the areas of professional development and all those additional skills. And so I think we're in a good position to be very welcoming as an organization, whether an institution or its programs has been in traditional literal PSM degree awarding fold or in a broader STEM field. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Again, these are great questions and a great discussion, and indeed that's what SPMA provides an opportunity for. And I think, again, Seema, thank you. The idea for an open board meeting really has been a wonderful opportunity to bring some of these ideas forward.
I had a follow-up question for Jerry and Stara, possibly. Where do we find that general information of what constitutes a PSM affiliation? I was looking for that the other day, and all I could find was one general statement of we require law or policy, we require some management skill, we require communications, and possibly project management. That's the only statement I found. Is there any other clear, a little bit less general guidance of what constitutes a PSM program?
So I actually think that is more specific, excuse me, than what a PSM program needs to be. I should pull up my the presentation that that Linda and I had done. If I can find it real
Was
quick or
was
not.
the presentation not put on the website? I thought we put it on the
Probably
website.
wasn't.
I saw it on somewhere. Oh, there.
Yeah.
It's on this page
Thank you.
presentation. There's a PDF that walks through what you have to do for affiliation. And that gives you a lot more detail about the affiliation process than you're probably looking for, Terry. But in there, it includes more specifically what constitutes a PSM.
Yes, and that's exactly the presentation that Tim is looking for. This one was done by Tim and Linda a few years ago, and this was the new revised standard for affiliation. I wonder, Tim, if you wouldn't mind updating it with just the new name, because everything else still stands true, and maybe add an extra slide about, you know, engineering schools who would want to join but not be affiliated and such.
Thank you for this.
And Terry, I have something called Essential Elements of a PSM Program, which is something I wrote up, which I will send to you right now. I wrote this up during my previous presidency, so I can reuse it during my current one. So it'll be in your inbox momentarily.
Thank you very much.
I might make a note too that we simplify the website so that there's like, this information is not in a PDF that is linked to on, you know, hidden link almost on the website. This should be much easier to find, not just for our members, but for everyone.
On that engineering stuff, I'm an engineer myself all the way, BS to master and PhD. But the reason I'm telling you this, that regular engineering school, which they offer like master in mechanical engineering, civil engineering, and they go by the ABET stuff, you're going to have a hard time trying to make them to the NPSMA. Now, if they want to join and get benefit stuff, fine. But there is like a program in my school, they call it engineering technology, which they do internship. They don't require thesis. They do project management, stuff like this. This, yes, it could go that route, even though ABET will give them certification, but they still could be a member of PSM too, because they do some of the stuff that way too. But pure engineering, they have plenty of choices. I don't believe they are looking to join us, but if they want, that's fine. But we do have it for the other kind of engineering science or engineering technology. That would be fine, yeah.
So I want to add on to that. So I've been in conversation with the University of Utah's engineering programs here because they really like the professional development and business ready that we do for our STEM PSM students. However, they flat out asked me, they said, why should we join a PSM? Our master's students, we already offer a thesis option for master's, a non-thesis, an internship, and a project-based degree. What's the difference? And they actually have an engineering and entrepreneurial certificate that is linked to their degree as well. So they said, why should we join a PSM if we have essentially all the same elements? I think 25 years ago at the inception, the idea of professional development, business development for STEMs was a novel idea. I think now it's part of everyday conversation at the higher institution, is that how are we preparing STEM students, including engineers, to go directly from a master's into workforce versus master's onto academia route. So I think a challenge that we will have moving forward as an organization is how do we evolve with the conversation versus trying to get people to come into our organization. How do we meet them where the conversation is? And I don't have an answer for it, but
the
this
answer
gonna be
is
that push.
advertising.
Sorry?
Advertisement. Let them know that we're gonna put you in different websites, people internationally, locally in the US, out of US, they get to know you. That is kind of advertisement for your program. That's the way I sell it, advertisement. Some good stuff, you are going to be compared with top-notch universities, you know, and need advertisement. So that's the only way I can think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe engineering programs at smaller schools that don't have all those resources, Megan, that you just listed, right?
Yes.
That are maybe newer programs that would like to offer more professional development, don't have any much resources. If we can somehow find them, you know, that might be an ideal stepping stone for them, you know, to join other programs that could help each other and where they could learn from best practices and such.
That's a good point. Thank you.
Yeah, Megan, to your point, actually, yes, even if like one institution can do everything that is required of PSM, it's a kind of this credibility, like a kind of, you know, for example, my lab, I need a lab accreditation, but I can do all the lab requirement, all whatever is required. Nobody will really, buy just what I say, but when there is affiliated with another, if some other entity independently verify I'm actually meet those standards, it adds some value to it. So I think the PSM, National PSM program, has to think of how we add value to the program that's already doing great. Like ABET accreditation, that's best, like they have all this. But my worry is like, because they have all this credit hour that the ABETs require, they have no room to put communication or like ethics or other courses, maybe project management and so on. So they have very difficult little room to add another courses. But by just being like part of the, this organization, how do we add value to them? Like, I tell you, like there are civil engineering students after graduate from their undergraduate, they join my PSM. They benefit more than their master program in civil engineering because of like the way we train our students is really not for like a specific area of field, more of like broader aspect of like marketable skill, really more than just the engineering skills. So that helped them to really go beyond their technical skill. And some of them are really, I would like to share them some story, maybe if they are available from alumni, they are appreciative of joining the PSM program. So we just have to gather it and craft it and communicate it effectively, how we add value to it.
Mm-hmm. Those are some really great points. Thank you, Talesa. That was really helpful. I think this will add to some of the conversations that Star and I have already started, and just kind of come back to that idea of this kind of Canvas resource, a information repository, so that if you're maybe a small school and you don't have resources to incorporate professional development or the time or the bandwidth, that perhaps we can give you tools that you can do it. And if you're fighting credit limitations, right, we can't incorporate more courses because you're already at that credit barrier. How can we help our programs or our members create touch points within current courses? So how do you create professional development in an engineering course? So there's nuances that I think maybe that's the value, is that we can give our years of experience of how we have done it and best practices of how to develop these transferable and business skills in our curriculum. So and as if anyone got, I love when I go to the conferences because I talk to people and I realize how different every single program is. They have their different size, they have their different program, they have their different challenges. but having a broader perspective is what I think helps us develop our value add as an organization. So I'm excited about working on this next year, especially this idea of how do we add value out, right? We've created our like community in there. So how do we add value out? And so we will be soliciting from people for ideas and information and perhaps content that how they do it so that we can share it with our community. And I believe, I think it was Saeed or Talesa that we were talking about how do we engage those members that are members, but maybe not fully engaged. Tim and I have talked about this as well. And we are hoping to reach out directly and start having conversations, because as we get value at the conferences by having conversations. And so how do we then translate that to those who weren't at the conference? And so let's start talking with them. So it's a lot of work, and we also have to be respectful and know that everyone here is doing this as a voluntary position, and we're not truly a paid organization. So we have to be realistic with what we can do too. And I think that is one of our limitations and challenges as an organization. So we're all ears. I love the idea of an open board meeting too. And I know we have the Ask NPSMA, but it would be great to have more of these conversations in between the conference. So thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. We went a little bit over time.
Hang on a second. I just want to say one more thing. Thank you again, Seema, for all your work you did, and looking forward to have Tim in place. And I want to make sure I'm getting off the board. I have to leave, but I want to stay involved. So keep me in mind for committees or where you need help, Megan, or whatever. Tim, reach out and I'll let you know where I can jump in and participate.
Dagmar, thank you for your service on the board. Has it been 6 years now?
Yep.
And prior to that, did you do a 6 years prior to that as well? Is this 12 years on the board?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your service and for your leadership and vision and guidance. And yes, we are counting on you to remain on committees.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. That's the best way to stay in the and figure out what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, we really appreciate you, all the board members who have served. As to Megan's point, you're all volunteers. You're choosing to serve in this time, including Marcel, who's waiting patiently for us to stop this conversation.
Well,
but this is great.
I have to run because I have a 5 o'clock.
Yeah, no. Let's close this and let's just look to continuing this next month in a future Ask NPSMA or a board meeting, or we'll look to Tim for guidance on that.
All right. Have a happy holidays, everybody.
Yeah. See you,
Happy
everybody.
holidays. Bye-bye.
Holidays, bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.